Ze slape kot trua the small living room like a thunderclap, leaving everyone frozen in shock. The elderly man's cheek turned red instantly, horror white in disbelief as she staggered back. No one had expected it least of all her son, who watched each young if trembling hand slowly drop to her side. The entire household was stunned, because in this family, respect for elders was considered sacred. And yet, here she was the daughter-in-law standing against her mother-in-law in a way no one could have imagined. Tears welled in the mother-in-law's eyes as silence swallowed the room. You dare hit me, her voice cricket, filled with a mixture of pain and humiliation. The daughter-in-law beat her lip hard, trying to hold herself together, but her chest rose and fell rapidly. She wanted to scream, to explain, but the words choked her throat. Everyone judged her instantly. A disrespectful wife, a cruel woman, an ungrateful soul. Nobody knew what had led her to this breaking point. Nobody understood the storm that had been raging inside her for months. The son, torn between each's wife and each's mother, clenched each's fists. "What have you done, May?" he demanded, each's voice thick with anger and confusion. May's knees weakened, but she stood her ground. She turned her face away, unable to meet each's eyes, because she knew the shame that would come after this. To outsiders, it would always look like an act of arrogance. But deep inside, May carried wounds far deeper than anyone could see. Wounds that had been carved into her heart by the very woman she had just struck. For months, May had endured endless humiliation. Her mother-in-law, Samjaya, had been relentless criticizing her cooking, her housework, even the way she spoke. No matter how hard May tried, it was never enough. Samjaya would constantly compare her to other women, reminding her son that he deserved someone better. Day after day, those words chipped away at May's self-worth until she could barely recognize herself. She smiled in front of others, but in the silence of the night, she cried herself to sleep. What no one saw was that May had been hiding bruises not on her skin, but in her heart. May's words had been like daggers, each insult cutting deeper than the last. May had once been full of dreams, a woman with confidence and ambition. But after moving into her husband's house, she became a shadow of who she was. Every step she took felt like walking on shattered glass, and no matter how careful she was, she always ended up bleeding from words that sliced her soul. The final straw came that morning. Samjaya had once again accused May of being the reason her son had not yet become successful. "You're nothing but a burden," she spat, her voice sharp as a whip. "Ever since he married you, Vich's life has gone downhill. You can't give him luck, you can't give him a child, you can't even take care of this house properly." Those words pierced May's chest like arrows. Something inside her snapped. She trembled with rage, and before she could stop herself, her hand struck the woman who had crushed her spirit for so long. The room filled with guests. Neighbors, who had come to visit, whispered furiously among themselves. To them, my section was unforgivable. A daughter-in-law striking her mother-in-law was the ultimate sin in their eyes. But my tears finally spilled over, her body shaking as she fell to her knees. "I never wanted this," she sobbed. "Do you think it was easy for me to endure? Do you think I don't know how much I disappointed you?" Her voice cracked under the weight of pain she had buried for too long. Her husband, Naren, felt torn apart. He loved H's mother dearly, but he also loved H's wife. Yet, he had been blind to the torment May had suffered. Every time May tried to tell him, he dismissed it as misunderstandings between women. He believed that time would heal the rift, but he hadn't realized the wounds were growing deeper every day. Now, seeing May collapse in front of him, crying as though her soul had shattered, he felt guilt crawling through H's veins. Samjaya, clutching her face, glared down at her daughter-in-law. But for the first time, she noticed something different. May wasn't defiant, she wasn't arrogant. She was broken. Truly broken. There was no victory in this. Samjaya had always thought of herself as strong, the pillar of the household, the guardian of tradition. But as she watched my trembling figure, she began to wonder if her strength had been nothing more than cruelty in disguise. My sword spilled like a flood. I left my family to be here, I gave up everything I had, just to be part of this home. I tried to love you like my own mother, but universe me ask anything but a mistake. Every day you cut me down until I forgot who I was. Do you know what it's like to live with someone who wishes you didn't exist? Her cries echoed through the walls, shattering the silence that had once buried her suffering. The neighbors shifted uncomfortably, some looking cruel in shame. They had often heard some GI scolding me loudly, but none of them ever stepped in. To them, it was just the natural way of things a maternal's right to discipline her son's wife. Now, seeing me collapse under the weight of years of unspoken pain, they realized how compulsive they had been by turning their heads the other way. Narin stepped forward and gently lifted me up from the floor. BH's hands trembled as he touched her shoulders. Why didn't you tell me, May? Why didn't you tell me how much it hurt? May shook her head weakly. I tried, she whispered. But you never listened. You always said, she's your mother, just be patient. I was patient, Narin. I was patient until there was nothing left of me to give to. The guilt in HA's chest twisted like a knife, for he finally understood the depth of HA's failure as a husband. Samai's lips trembled as she opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. For the first time, she saw the reflection of herself through a mysterious woman who had turned her bitterness into weapons, a mother who thought she was protecting her son but instead had been destroying the very person he loved. Her chest tightened as realization dawned. She had been cruel, and it was her cruelty that had pushed me to the edge. The crowd of neighbors slowly dispersed, their murmurs fading as they realized this was no spectacle to witness. This was a wound to row, a family to fractured. Inside the house, silence fell again. Only my sobs and Narin's softer impetus to comfort her filled the air. Someday I sat down heavily on a chair, her hand still pressed against her stinging cheek, but it was not the pain of the slap that consumed her, it was the sting of regret.